Resale or pre-construction? Which is the better buy? Stay tuned to this week's episode. Promise you, it'll be worth it. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. So glad you could join me here today. One of the questions I've been constantly being asked when I start doing a lot more investments is whether I should buy pre-construction or resale. And of course, as with most of my answers, it depends on your personal circumstance. But since I would say mid to late 2019 until now, a release date of this video, call it mid 2020, my stance on the two options have shifted more towards resale, and I'll explain why in this video for you. At the end of this video, you'll see why my sentiments have shifted. Of course, before this video ends, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the Prime Properties TV channel because I got a lot of good stuff coming up. As part of my explanation, you need to know the pros and cons of pre-construction first, okay? So originally back in the mid 2010s, you can look at kind of pre-construction as you take on the risk of buying pre-construction where it's not built, whether that be a house or a condo, because you were paying less than what was going on in the resale market right then, okay? That's why it made so much sense back in the early 2010s to do pre-construction. That, and you could also lock in, that day's price without a mortgage approval. Nowadays, it's all changed. Although some builders don't need a mortgage approval because they're a strong reputation, which is a good thing for anyone who wants to keep investing and they're tapped out from a financing perspective, but most of the time, they will require a mortgage approval, especially after this whole COVID stuff. So this is the same thing for buying as resale. That's one of the points. Furthermore, when we're looking at pre-construction, the going rate right now is about 20 to 40% higher than the current resale rates. That's two major factors that came since mid 2019s. That's kind of made me recommend pre-construction less and less as a viable strategy. But let me give you two scenarios that most people are looking at, for pre-construction: investment or personal. The most popular idea of buying personal pre-construction is to buy at today's prices in case it goes up in the future and that you can use it and live in it in the future. But that's not something I would recommend. Like, pricing aside, if you can buy at today at the same price, go resale. The delays are just a huge nuisance for if you want to move in. It may make you have to rent a place temporarily or have to sell your current property at a bad time because delays can go for as long as 18 months most of the time. That plus the idea of thinking your new house is perfect because it's new, nah, it's just hoopla, they tell you. There will still be issues with the house during the warranty period because there will be many construction overlooks. My current place that I'm filming and living in right now, they forgot to connect the return duct. And we only noticed that because the room was getting hot in the summer months after we closed. So obviously they did it for us, but they had to rip open the walls, cut open it, and then reconnect it. So that was a huge nuisance, I would say. But with my personal sentiment for those reasons, that's why I'd rather buy a resale right now for the prices that I see in the market and just renovate it, because you may pay the same or even less for what you would with pre-construction because it has that 20 to 40% premium right now. However, if you cannot qualify for a mortgage right now and a builder doesn't require one for you, in that particular instance where the three circles in the Venn diagram in the center meets, your pre-construction house makes sense personally. When it comes to investment, the only time I would think pre-construction makes sense right now is if you're looking for capital appreciation and you've been fully tapped out from your traditional lenders on traditional rates. The reason why my sentiment is like this right now is because the prices are just too high and it's too difficult to make the numbers work in pre-construction. Even if you're factoring future appreciation on rent and mortgage pay down, the numbers just don't work. If you're after capital appreciation, it could work, but understand that in order for you to make money in pre-construction, you're gonna have to push the upper boundaries of pricing right now before you make any money. Because when you're buying right now, the contract itself, you're likely buying the most expensive product in that neighborhood. Whereas if you buy a resale, you just have to catch the price of whatever the builder has set that pre-construction prices in the area. You see the difference? Catching it and pushing it to the upper limit, two separate things. That's why it's easier to catch it on the resale side, okay? This is because the premium on pre-construction just, again, doesn't make any sense right now. From a cash flow perspective, from a capital appreciation investment perspective, or even from a risk perspective, it's all more difficult to make the strategy work right now, especially the risk as there's more and more cases of large condo builder sites failing and deposits being returned. You lose that time in the market, and that's substantial. Now, I've been told and pitched many things with pre-construction that, you get the newest and the hottest product on the market when it finishes. And yes, while that is true, you can always renovate an older condo that's usually larger than the pre-construction for a very nominal price because the condo's not very big, right? That compared to a 20 to 40% premium in the cost of pre-construction is why I say resale makes more sense right now. The pricing in pre-construction may look like it hasn't changed since the mid-2010s, but it has. When you are paying for the same thing, but what you get keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and costs keep increasing. And this is by no fault to the builders either. Pre-construction is just pushed very heavily, and the prices have been increasing very heavily because a lot of agents, when they push pre-construction, the commission is 4% instead of the usual 2.5, which means almost double the amount of commission for not having to tour a house. That's why it's pushed so hard, okay? And that's why it's gotten so big. So when you're looking for a viable investment strategy, you have to understand whether pre-construction works for you or not. If you're tapped out and you already own existing properties, yes, pre-construction may make sense for your current portfolio. However, if you don't own any existing properties right now, okay, as of mid-2020, I find it very difficult to recommend pre-construction as a viable strategy for your first investment. So I would say right now, most of the time, go resale. It is the better buy. Of course, keep in mind, these are my opinions and the way I think investing works and the way that I think will get you the most long-term wealth. And it's not about flipping, okay? I don't believe in flipping properties or assignment contracts because the capital gains tax, land transfers, commissions, legals, and all the other fees that you add into it, you lose most of your profits, okay? So I hope you found this video helpful. If you are getting started or thinking about your next investment property and you'd like a more specific question that you want to ask me regarding resale or pre-construction, I'll leave my contacts in the description below for you guys to contact me, okay? Until next time, your move, your future. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one? Oh, you know what? This one's good too. Ooh, this one's really good. You know what? Just watch them both.